Exactly what family members of a convicted child sex offender told us they feared would happen has happened. The Jones County man convicted of sexually abusing a child and sentenced to 12 years in prison is out of prison after less than 2 years behind bars. KCRG TV9's Brian Tabak is in the studio. Brian, they worry he might do this again?
Danielle, John Cupples accepted a plea deal in 2022 where he pled guilty to lascivious acts with a child and child endangerment. Both of those are felonies in the state of Iowa. The Iowa Department of Corrections and the Board of Parole agreed Cupples should continue his treatment at a lower level facility. This placed him on work release status. His family, on the other hand, worries he might do this again, saying they think he's already done it more than once.
I told my sister first, my older sister, when I was around 8 years old, or probably 7 at the time, and she told my mom.
This is the daughter of John Cupples. She asked that we not use her name, but wanted to make herself heard after she says Cupples sexually abused her in 2011 when she was just 8 years old.
I didn't understand it. I was young, innocent, and I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know how.
He was charged at the time, but says prosecutors then dropped the case. The reason?
No one believed me.
She says she bottled up the trauma for years. Then in 2020, Cupples was charged again for abusing another one of his children in 2017. It was then, she says, her family started to believe her story, and her aunt, Dee Detbar, took her in to keep her safe.
The minute that his most recent victim said it, like, I knew when I received that phone call, my guts hit the ground, and I just knew. And I was like, I don't even question it. I knew immediately.
Cupples took a plea deal and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. But in December, after less than 2 years in prison, the Iowa Board of Parole released him to work release. Exactly what Cupples' family feared would happen when we talked to them in November.
I knew he wouldn't serve the full time. I've seen it before. Predators get out so much sooner than they should, and it's scary.
The Iowa Department of Corrections and Board of Parole declined an interview for this story. In a statement, a spokesperson told us both agencies agreed Cupples should move to a lower level of supervision, where he will complete additional sex offender treatment that is not available in prison. He's now at a work release facility, but once his treatment is done, he could be released on parole. That worries his daughter and sister, who now live just miles from that facility.
I worry about seeing him on the street even, like driving.
He has an ankle monitor. He rides the bus, I believe. I mean, he can go and apply for jobs anywhere, and he's an everyday citizen. He can be standing right next to you in line at the grocery store or at the gas station, you know, and I don't know. How far is he gonna go? Is he gonna start snatching little girls in the bathroom? I don't know.
Cupples is still under a special life sentence as a sex offender, meaning he will be on parole or work release for life. That's not enough for his family. They're taking matters into their own hands, going business to business, letting them know what Cupples was convicted of doing.
I would like to go into some other businesses around here and alert them, because I don't think anybody willingly wants to hire them, but there are places that don't do background checks.
Kelsey says doing this is a way to not only keep Cupples away from her family and her home, but says the system is failing them.
There needs to be some support system, more support systems for these victims and families, and less for the child molesters.
Cupples' daughter says hearing her story, she hopes will spark some change to a system she and her family feels has failed them and many others.
I feel like I was forced to overcome it up until he did it again. It was never spoke about. I still had to have normal interactions with him, and that was really hard. So I kind of just had to push all that down.
Last Monday, a judge granted Cupples' daughter a protection order against him. That was the first time she had to see him since 2019. In the studio, Brian Tabak, KCRG TV 9 News.